Good afternoon and welcome to State Newsfile. I'm Cami Marayag. Tommy Osborne will have a look at all the highlights later in the show. What can we expect, Tommy?
We have some really exciting but probably unexpected Trojans news coming up.
Oh, I can't wait. Stacey Hine has apparently been deceived by the weather today. How does it feel to be fooled, Stacey?
Well, Cami, we're right around season average at -3, but with the wind chill, it feels like -13. Our record high from March 10th was in 1934 at 19 degrees, while a record low was in 1951 at -32. And it's cold outside, but I'll warm your hearts with my weathercast later in the show.
Thanks, Stacey. Now here's a look at today's top stories. The Russian invasion of Ukraine has entered its third week, and more than 2 million refugees from Ukraine have fled to different parts of Europe. Russian forces continue to bombard major cities despite the agreed-upon ceasefire. Thousands of people have been suffering from shortages of food, medicine, heat, and electricity. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau met with the President of Poland earlier today to discuss what both countries can do to help Ukraine.
Canada is going to be welcoming Ukrainians to our country, so we've actually provided an additional funding of $117 million to support special immigration measures, including accelerating the treatment of files so that we can get Ukrainians fleeing for their lives to Canada.
Other efforts include adding a $20 million donation to Red Cross and a $50 million contribution to humanitarian aid for the Ukrainian crisis. Crude oil has dropped, but gas prices continue to be at an all-time high. The record-breaking prices are primarily because of the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, causing uncertainty in supply. The Alberta government has announced the removal of the provincial gas tax starting April 1st to help keep prices at bay. Some analysts are predicting prices will drop tomorrow following the slight recovery of the Canadian dollar and correction of oil prices. Regular grade fuel in Calgary has seen a price of 172.3 cents per liter today, while premium grade fuel is at 199.9 cents per liter. The WTI has dropped to $108.7 from $123 per barrel. This is said to be the most significant drop in oil prices since late November. And it's not just rising fuel prices worrying many Calgarians. Some commuters say they don't feel safe on trains because of people abusing the use of drugs and alcohol. Ridership is at 45% of what it used to be prior to the pandemic times. But as Alana Bender reports, this is not just a safety issue.
Not as safe as I used to, for sure. And I've been riding the train for several decades.
There has been an increase in drug and alcohol use specifically on the C trains itself. On top of that, with COVID-19 restrictions lifting, some Calgarians are concerned about their health. Transit riders say they are taking matters into their own hands to find a resolution to these concerns.
So lately I've seen them bring in more safety officers, and I'm wondering if it's because I'm not the only one who actually contacted Calgary Transit about the concerns.
Transit ridership is down 45% from where it was prior to COVID times, but it is anticipated that it will increase as restrictions continue to lift and more people get back to working in person.
We've increased a little bit of a peace officer presence on the line because it is reassuring to our customers, and we want them to have a good experience with their commute or for whatever reason that they're using the system.
Transit employees feel that ridership will improve and that Calgarians will feel more confident to travel on transit alone again with the increased presence of peace officers.
We aim to give customers the best possible transit experience that we can, right? I mean, we want people to feel safe. We want people to feel like they're getting a consistent and reliable experience.
I feel like it varies between the days just because when there's like heavy snow, sometimes it's more late. And sometimes they come, like, I'd say 5 to 10 minutes earlier than expected.
No, it's not. It's not consistent and it's not reliable.
While transit safety is improving with the increase in security measures, it's always a good idea to travel with a friend if you're worried about being alone. For St. Newsfile, I'm Alana Bender.
Former Premier of Quebec, Jean Charest, will be in Calgary tonight to formally launch his campaign for leadership of the Conservative Party. Charest has been in politics for years, leading the Federal Progressive Conservative Party from 1993 to 1998 and becoming Quebec's premier in 2003. His slogan, Built to Win, is said to be a message that focuses on both his political experience and how he is the right man for the job. Charest will be at the Wild Rose Brewery at 7 o'clock. Prospective students have now started the process of choosing which post-secondary institution will help further their education for a future career. SAIT will host its open house next week once again in an online format. As Gates Guarin reports, recruiting new students is one click away.
Students are logging in to learn about what their potential futures could look like. SAIT will host its annual open house on March 19th, and for the third year in a row, will hold it in the online space. Event organizers say holding the open house online gives them a better understanding of what is piquing students' interests.
With the online virtual environment, we're able to track a whole lot more information about registrations, attendance, what sessions or programs are getting the most clicks and engagement and things like that.
While SAIT sees the online space to be informative from an analytics point of view, current students believe an in-person event to be much more engaging when choosing which post-secondary institution to attend. Students at SAIT say being able to talk to recruiters and instructors in person gave them a much better feel of campus life, something that is missing from a virtual event.
I find it very informational because then you kind of know what the school provides you with and you know where to go and who to talk to.
If you're doing it in person, it will actually be much more informative rather than online, because online is not going to be that much informative, honestly.
I feel like online, this is going to be much more, you need to know what you kind of want to get into. I mean, you can go around, I'm not sure how the open house is going to be structured online, but I'm sure you could go around to each booth and kind of see what's happening at them. I think that's just going to take more time.
SAIT believes having the hybrid of in-person and online events will have a greater impact on bringing in new students around the world.
We need to supply options in post-secondary for people to engage with us. You know, the virtual space is completely borderless, and so we are able to recruit from, you know, anyone from Nanaimo to Dubai or Tokyo.
For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Gates Guarin.
The Get Involved Expo wrapped up today after 3 days of the in-person event. The expo is a chance for student clubs, along with other organizations and resources on campus, to come out and engage with students. Megan Cobb joins us live from the Irene Lewis Atrium, where she has been following the story. Megan, what can you tell us?
Well, Kame, SAITSA would normally hold a handful of expos a semester, but the move to online learning meant that expos had to move online as well, and student engagement dropped. SAITSA is hoping the return to in-person events means students will get involved again.
Students are lining up to win prizes at the Get Involved Expo. But the biggest prize for the clubs here might be the students themselves.
There's a lot of people engaging with it. It's shocking.
For many clubs, like SAIT's LGBTQ+ club, engagement dropped when classes moved online. But they are optimistic interest from the expo will continue through the semester.
We actually have summer programs now as well. So the summer students who come in can engage with the community.
Before the COVID-19 pandemic, SAITSA had nearly 100 student clubs. That dropped to 50 in the online environment. But SAITSA hopes the expo will help get that number back up.
Clubs are finding it a really good way to meet students who are interested and kind of get them actually engaged, as well to meet other clubs, right? To be able to kind of network and see where they can collaborate.
And clubs like the Student Creative Design Collective are looking forward to being able to connect with even more students.
We've been doing everything virtually for the last 2 years since I created the club. So now that we can do it on campus, we can actually engage with students more.
In past years, SAITSA would hold an expo a month, and the Student Association is already gearing up to its pre-pandemic schedule, with a health and wellness expo planned for April.
It's been a really nice way to introduce students back into kind of what it used to be like and kind of bring some life back on campus.
And for students who have only had online classes during their time at SAIT, the expo is providing a feel for what the rest of their time on campus could be like.
It's a lot of fun. It makes you feel like you're kind of part of the community because you're like actually there instead of just online.
This atrium was packed with nearly 1,600 students passing through the expo this week. And it's just the first of many events that plan to return to their pre-pandemic form. Students graduating this spring can expect an in-person convocation in June, the first since 2019. Keme?
Thanks, Megan. That was Megan Cobb reporting live from the Irene Lewis Atrium building. Tax season is here again, and SATSA has your back. And this time around, it's face-to-face. Students can drop by the Peer Support Center with their info to get help. And as Eric Bird reports, filing taxes doesn't have to be stressful.
That sounds like a dream.
I know. The tax program is back and free again this year for students with income under $35,000. SATSA is encouraging students to take advantage of this resource by allowing drop-ins.
Yeah, we actually think it's going to be pretty busy considering that it's in person this year and we have a lot of new students coming in. Last year it was pretty busy. To my knowledge, I believe we had over 300 taxes filed last year. So we're expecting more of that this year, that it's in person and we have more people passing by.
Starting next week, the doors will be wide open, and Ndozi says they have the staff to handle the expected increased load. The SATSA Peer Support Center is a safe space on campus that welcomes all SATS students to gather, socialize, and actively participate in initiatives that promote positive mental health and well-being.
Yeah, essentially the Peer Support Center is a student-only inclusive space. So it's a really great way to meet new people, to build community, to have fun, to experience what it's like to be a student in the non-academic sense.
It's a diverse space free from discrimination based on gender, sexual orientation, race, culture, religious beliefs, physical or mental ability, socioeconomic status, or any other factor that would marginalize an individual. It's a place to chill.
Like gaming tournaments, like video game tournaments. We have music lessons. Usually we'll have a volunteer who's really passionate about teaching someone like how to play guitar. We have board games. We have lots of different ways for people to connect.
The center is intended to promote wellness through relaxing and fun activities.
The Peer Support Center offers much more than free taxes. It also offers events and programs to allow students to connect, make friends, and cope with the stresses of college life. The Support Center staff and volunteers are SATE students and are trained to be great listeners to provide resources when needed. For SATE Newsfile, I'm Eric Bird.
Those are today's top stories. We'll have your full forecast after the break with Stacey Hine. But first, Drew Stremick has a look at what's going on around Calgary this week.
Clown around this weekend at the Common Clown Festival. This family-friendly event is a celebration of physical theater and the magical possibilities that can come from a clown on stage. Check out Hang the DJ happening at Dickens Pub Saturday night. Retro, new wave, goth, and industrial, this alternative scene will throw you back to the 80s. Celebrate women and diversity outdoors at MEC for the Empowerment Festival. This film and speaker series amplifies incredible stories, people, and lived experiences. Ticket proceeds support the Lady Alliance, a nonprofit aimed at building scholarship opportunities for women in adventure. If that's not your speed, Dragon Force will be playing the Palace Theatre on March 15th with 7 Spires. Tickets are just $30 and doors are at 6:30. And finally, celebrate St. Patrick's Day at the Irish Cultural Centre, feature music from the Kevin Friel Trio, and dancing by Brady Academy and Posac, Hampshire.
Well, it looks like there's a lot of exciting stuff going on in Calgary, and the women outdoors, well, I'm sure they'd be braving the cold if they were out there today. Let's take a look at the weather across the country. Vancouver is expecting a low pressure system, so this will be their last day of sun before they see some pretty rainy days. There's a high pressure system just north of the province that's making its way down to southern Alberta, and we can see some pretty nice warm days ahead. It's snowing in Regina and Winnipeg, and this is a result of a low pressure system that's hitting the prairies and moving northeast. Now that pressure system does skip over the central Canada, but it hits Halifax and St. John's, which is a result of a very extreme rain and wind warning. Now wind is going to be gusting at 110 kilometers an hour. Now let's take a look at some nicer temperatures with the resorts.
The
clouds in Palm Springs stop the sun from beating down, making it a comfortable 23 degrees. Barbados is above season average at 29. Both Honolulu and Orlando are 28 degrees, but Orlando is seeing the ugly side of it. Those in Las Vegas might want to stay in the casinos because they aren't having any luck with the weather. Unfortunately, it's even colder than -3 in Calgary right now. It's actually -8. Now, there is a chance of flurries, but let's hope that the snow will hold off. Right now, the wind is blowing at 10 kilometers an hour from the north-northwest, and we'll have some sunny days ahead. Let's take a look at the province. Fort McMurray is sunny and -14, but they'll have some snow in the week ahead. It's also snowing in Grand Prairie and Edmonton today. Banff is sunny, but they'll have some snow all weekend, so you might want to plan a getaway of skiing. Now, it's going to be sunny in Calgary, Lethbridge, and Medicine Hat in the days following because of that high-pressure system that is hitting southern Alberta. Now, let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. Tonight will cool to a low of -20, but after that, like I promised warmth earlier in the show, it will be sunny all of the next 5 days. Sunday, you will be able to have a nice, beautiful day, even if you'll lose an hour of sleep with the daylight savings time. Tommy Osborne will have all the latest highlights after the break.
When you donate to the Salvation Army, you're not just donating a coat, you're donating another warm night for someone that needs it. When you donate to the Salvation Army, you're giving someone hope. So why wait? Give hope today.
Come and learn the fast-paced world of television production. Find your passion to write, shoot, edit, and direct news, sports, and dramatic productions. With industry-standard technology and the best instructors in the business, SAIT's television production program teaches you everything you need to know for a career in broadcasting. This is television production. Come and dare to be on air.
Welcome back to SAIT Newsfile. Tommy Osborne joins us now for a look at the latest highlights. So what can we expect, Tommy?
Got a lot going on in the pro sports world, but let's start a little bit more local with our Trojans. Have you ever had a conversation with your parents about how video games melt your brain and how you should be outside playing sports instead? Well, the SAIT Trojans esports team said, why not do both? Gates Guarin has more.
What a shot! Your egg is popping off this game.
The SAIT Trojans have finally wired into the digital world of esports. The Trojans are a part of a college esports league in Alberta, which is quickly growing in popularity and competitiveness. Andrew Tran, team manager for the Trojans, says the team had humble beginnings, but has quickly turned into one of the province's stronger squads.
We looked around and we tried to see if there's an established club within, and we saw that the student engagement has the e-gaming server. So within that server, there's over 400 players or students / alumni and staff.
Picture, I'm faking bumping.
The idea of becoming a collegiate athlete and representing their school lit a fire under some students. Jace Harder, who goes by Evo, says being able to scrim matches in person makes a world of difference.
I just like the competitive environment a lot, so I think that's really beneficial for being a team environment and live too, or not live, on LAN. So being able to talk to your teammates and learn from each other and stuff like that.
Let's go! Look at that!
The Trojans have worked closely with SAIT to get the word out to the student body. Matt Clark, who is on the Rocket League team but works closely with SAIT student engagement, says being able to teach a brand new player matters more than the win-loss column.
The ability of players that aren't necessarily super good, giving a place for them to play against other schools as well, giving everyone an opportunity to play. Doesn't matter on gender, race, anything. Let's let everybody play.
The Trojans eSport team brings a winning attitude towards all their matches, and they hope for continued success under the banner that gaming is for everyone. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Gates Guarin.
The Trojans basketball teams are hoping to advance their championship aspirations tomorrow night. The men and women will both be visiting Lakeland College in their respective Final Four games. A win would give both teams a chance to compete for gold, and a loss would still put them in a bronze medal game. The men's team is firing on all cylinders as they chase their 5th straight title. As for the women, it's been an up and down season, but their recent impressive play could give them enough momentum for a championship run. The Edmonton Oilers took on the Washington Capitals in an exciting match last night. The Oilers put the pressure on early, but Capitals goalie Ilya Samsonov made some amazing saves to keep it scoreless. Second period, Nicholas Backstrom positions himself in front of the net for this beautiful no-look behind the back goal. Later in the second period, the Capitals turn it over and Edmonton is on the rush. The first shot blocked, but a scramble in front of the net leads to the CC goal. Game now, it's almost over. Clock is running out, and Oshie right here with the snipe to tie it. 0.8 seconds left. Overtime now, McDavid, he's not letting Oshie have all the fun. It was a very close game, but ultimately the Oilers did prevail. Oshie's 2 goals just weren't enough for the Capitals to overcome. Edmonton did what Calgary was unable to do, as they fell to the Capitals on Tuesday. Calgary will have a chance to get back in the win column tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning, though. The Flames have looked like a championship contender this season, but a win over the defending champs tonight would be a big step forward to solidifying their contender status. Over in the NBA, the Toronto Raptors welcomed back Fred VanVleet, who returned from a 3-game injury absence. Gary Trent Jr. pokes the ball out, and VanVleet comes up with it. He passes, he finds right here, he goes through, slices through the defense, and lays it in. Later here, it's VanVleet again with the steal. He finds Trent Jr. sprinting down court for the slam. DeJounte Murray for the Spurs, though, won't go down without a fight, and he nails this beautiful 3. A couple plays later, it's Murray again. Finds a spot and shoots over VanVleet to tie the game. VanVleet, not too happy about that one. He says, watch this, as he nails the deep 3 to end the half. It was back and forth, but Trent Jr.'s 3 here put the game out of the reach in the 3rd quarter, and the Raptors will go on to cruise to victory. It was the VanVleet show last night. He led the Raptors with 26 points. As for the Spurs, head coach Greg Popovich will have to wait at least one more game before he becomes the all-time leader in wins. Legendary golfer Tiger Woods was inducted into the Hall of Fame last night. Woods' 15 major championships are second only to Jack Nicklaus, who has 18. He also has the second most PGA Tour wins with 81. On top of that, he's the youngest golfer ever to complete the career Grand Slam at 24. In his Hall of Fame acceptance speech, Woods spoke extensively about the importance of the support his family gave him.
Sacrifices of mom, who took me all to the future golf tournaments, Dad, who's not here, but who instilled in me this work ethic.
While a Hall of Fame induction usually signals retirement, Woods indicated that his career may not be over yet. And that's a look at sports.
It's interesting that esports is gaining momentum now, right? That's my type of sport.
Same here, gotta love esports.
After the break, Drew Stremick will have a look at what's the latest in the world of entertainment. Stay with us.
I had it so good. I had my own car, great grades, everything in my life was going great till I ruined it all. Little did I know, this would be my greatest mistake. Drunk driving. Lawyer fees, disappointed parents, lost car. If only I listened.
Hey, you aren't good to drive home.
Friends don't let friends drink and drive.
Come and learn the breaking world of broadcast news. Find your passion to investigate, write, shoot, edit, and deliver the stories of the day. SAIT's broadcast news program teaches you everything you need to know for a career in radio and television. Become the next great anchor, reporter, or personality using industry standard technology alongside qualified instructors with years of experience. This is Broadcast News. Come and dare to be on air.
Things are picking up around Calgary with new events being scheduled every week. Our very own Drew Stremick is in the newsroom to give us the latest scoop. Drew, what exciting things are going on around the city?
That's right, Cammie. There's plenty of things happening in the entertainment this week, but first we start in a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars fans rejoice. The Obi-Wan Kenobi series is coming to Disney Plus this May. Ewan McGregor takes back the role as the iconic Star Wars character as the series picks up a few years after the events that occurred in Revenge of the Sith. If the previous Star Wars series on Disney have shown us anything, this will definitely be one to watch. She's vaxxed, waxed, and has more attitude than ever. RuPaul's Drag Race star Bianca Del Rio is taking the stage at the Grey Eagle Event Center tomorrow.
The rest of the world will see that nicer side. Are you prepared for that?
You've been filming this? Winner of the RuPaul's Drag Race in 2014, Bianca is on the prowl as she continues her new unsanitized comedy tour. Bianca is a costume designer and theatrical performer who's been on stage since 1996. She's been a staple for Mardi Gras events and private parties long before her time on RuPaul. Her sharp wit and dismembering humor is bound to be an unforgettable experience. Speaking of heavy eyeshadow, catch the life and music of George Michael at the Grey Eagle Casino.
Well, I guess it would be nice.
The show, which pays tribute to the late pop superstar whose smash hits like Faith and Wake Me Up Before You Go Go captivated fans throughout the 80s and early 90s. Fans can sing and dance along during the show while they relive the legacy George Michael's left behind. Taking a night of color and dancing at the annual Holi Hungama Festival. This East Indian festival celebrates the arrival of spring and all the colors that come with it. This is the 7th annual Holi Hungama being hosted here in Calgary, and this year the celebration focuses on life and love, and the color throw is back. Be sure to wear clothes that you're willing to celebrate Holi in, as the dry color powder will create a touching souvenir. And that's a look at entertainment. Back to you, Kame.
Thanks, Drew. I can't wait to binge the Obi-Wan series. Gardening and keeping plants is a popular hobby, and almost everyone has houseplants. But what benefits can this hobby have aside from beautifying a space? And how exactly does one keep their plants from dying? Adian Vandenberg has the answers.
Year-round, people seek to spend time in nature and reap its benefits, as research has shown there are many. And there are similar benefits to bringing nature into your home.
So the benefits of keeping plants in your home, there's all kinds of things. I was studying a little thing called biophilia, and basically it's just talking about how nature can be very calming, so it has really good mental benefits.
It's been shown that they actually reduce stress and anxiety when they're even in a room where you're using a computer or in your bedroom or in your home. They filter and clean your air.
The best part is that you can reap these benefits even if you don't have much of a green thumb. Taking good care of your plants doesn't have to be an ordeal, and there are a few simple ways you can ensure that your plants are thriving.
My general instruction is check your plants every week. Make sure there's a hole in the bottom of your pot so water can drain out. Always check your plants with you can use a water meter or your finger, and basically you're checking deep into the soil to your second knuckle. When it's dry, then you water thoroughly. There's so many nice plants.
So the best tips and tricks for someone that's starting out is just to commit a little bit of time.
Don't you love gardening?
I do. In fact, our family, we grow a lot of our own basil.
Right. And that's it for State Newsfile. We'll see you next week.